Ever since Christopher Columbus set sail for the New World, Europeans have been hard at work enslaving Africans, decimating indigenous cultures, and colonizing every corner of the globe that they could set sail to. Europe and European-led America have put that history of violence to good use. They fought 2 world wars, 1 Cold War, and dozens of military conflicts all over the planet for the last century. But the battle continues at home, in the psyches of whites all throughout America. America has been force-fed a cultural diet of white superiority and authority. By design, there hasn't been a voice of reason to stand up against this propaganda machine. Meanwhile, racist cops, gun-toting militia groups, radical anti-abortion terrorists, and deranged men bent on body counts have been seeming to fester out of the wound that is white supremacy. If mass shootings, terrorist attacks, and hate groups are to be curtailed in America, we have to face this problem head on. The time for political correctness is over. I am J.R. Clark, and this is Pivot Point. Here to help us discuss today, we have local personality, Khadijah Perry.
Hi.
And concerned citizen, Benedict Avery.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today, guys.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Pleasure to be here.
What do you think about the history of violence, Ben? I'm talking going back to colonial times here in America. Do you think that reaches us today?
Absolutely. When you have a country whose foundations were essentially to wipe out the indigenous population and to import another population to build your country, and that country itself couldn't exist with either of those things missing, it sets a precedent of violence and that it's okay to take and to use others.
So you're saying it's coming back from way back then all the way to now, and it's still that same anger, that same violence that's coming from way back in our past.
It's more, why is it back? What's prompted it to come back? Because that rage was there before. We were just brought here on slave ships by happy-go-lucky people. I'm pretty sure they had some angst within them then.
I wonder how it is that white people can turn that critical eye outwards, but when it comes to looking at themselves, they don't really see themselves in this point of view. Where do you think that comes from, Ben?
Fear.
Fear.
Yeah, it just hurts too much.
To even think about your own culture like that?
Yeah, to be able to look inside your own culture and realize a lot of the things that you were raised to think that, the United States is, impeccable. All of our presidents were very good people. These are things that we don't want to have to face.
Like American exceptionalism.
Precisely.
White people do live in American culture. 1 in 10 whites are living in poverty. 53% of gang violence over the last 25 years has been committed by whites.
And don't forget white on white crime.
White on white crime.
White on white crime.
The homicide rate of whites against whites, the homicide rate there is 84%. 84% of white homicides are committed by other white people. It's like that rage. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to realize it within their own community to see that there is this violence there. Khadijah, do you think that white America is critical of itself?
I feel like no. I feel like right now, white America is very much in the state of, I need to make myself look good. So I'm not going to mention any negative thing that I might possibly be doing because people are just looking for me to mess up. No one's over slavery yet, so I need to really hammer in the good things I might be doing.
Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think opening up the conversation makes people feel like they would be opening a slippery slope to something as crazy as reparations.
Finally, violence against the community can no longer be ignored. Its causes must be understood and reconciled if we are to have a brighter future. European America must have a conversation about itself. If we are to avoid the mindless menace of violence, we must constantly reevaluate ourselves. And frank and open conversation is a way to achieve that. As always, I'm J.R. Clark, and this was Pivot Point.